myself. 2 years ago, I had no journalism experience at all. I'd never been in a newspaper, and embarrassingly enough, had watched a bit too much Gilmore Girls. Rory Gilmore was on her high school and college newspaper, and I decided, hey, that might be neat. It was also one of the few classes that was open because community colleges in California are pretty packed right now. So I joined the newspaper, and from day one, I just embraced the experience and started doing as much as I could. Our designer, Richard Scott, taught me pretty much everything I knew about design. And I learned as I went along, flying by the seat of my pants. One of the resources that he gave me as far as newspaper design was Charles Apple's blog. So when it came time in one of my journalism classes to choose a professional journalist to do a presentation on, I knew that I had to share Charles and his views and his awesome blog with the rest of my class. So I reached out to him to see if he would meet up with me to do a video interview. And I was pretty awed and excited and shocked when he said yes. So we met up one Saturday at Cal State Fullerton. He took time out of his own weekend to just meet up with a community college journalism student. To start off, I had to ask Charles the cheesy, cliche question, which is newspaper dying?
They've been telling us newspapers are dead for a long time. I mean, back in the 60s and 70s, they said newspapers are dead because we now have a thing called television, and television is going to kill newspapers, and it didn't happen. As a matter of fact, if in anything, it made newspapers more relevant than ever before because you have the television comes on, and for this story here, that story there, these are big important stories of the day. Things like Watergate and Vietnam and Apollo space program. You get 10 minutes here, 2 minutes here, and 3 minutes. Actually, I said 10. 10 is actually an eternity in TV news, isn't it? You only get a few moments here or there, but you pick up the newspaper and you can actually read in-depth stories, you can read sidebars, you can read more stuff, and so it made newspapers even more relevant to the small number of people who wanted the news. For people who just want to get entertained and then turn to the Wheel of Fortune, then TV's the way to go. And then, USA Today came out and they said, newspapers are dead now because everything's going to be digitized and bite-ized and going to be micro-sized and all this. And it didn't. It gave us a whole new way of presentation. It gave us some new tools, infographics. I made a career off that. But I think we still tell meaty stories using some of these tools. So it didn't kill newspapers. And then the internet came out. They said, this is it. Newspapers are dead now. And, we've taken some pretty good hits. But let me just point out that you go to the internet and we're going to look at wonderful pictures of cute little kittens. And we'll see blogs about games and all these things that we're interested in and things that are fun to play. And you can find some good sites, and we're starting to see some good startups now in the last week or two with good, meaty, great-to-read journalism that's expressed in ways that we can all understand. But a lot of the best journalism on the web that's supposed to be taking newspapers away are done by, guess what, newspapers. New York Times, and you got your Chicago Tribunes out there, and a little paper down the road here called the Orange County Register. I think we're doing some pretty interesting stuff. And a lot of this is online. So the thing about it is, if newspapers were to go away tomorrow, most of the news that you're reading online would go away. So nobody knows where this stuff is going. And anybody who tells you they do, no matter what big newspaper they work for, or what big outfit they work for, Digital First Media or the New York Times or whoever they are, don't trust them because nobody knows. Everybody, no matter how many billions you have in your back pocket, everybody's making this shit up as they go along. Everybody's making this stuff up. And we don't know where it's going. We're all throwing spaghetti at the wall, and we're all looking for the spaghetti that sticks, and we haven't really found it yet.
What advice do you have for journalism students now, but also for people who, lots of people are unemployed. It's a sad, scary fact of our current economy. What advice do you have for people who are unemployed, for journalists who want to be, or journalism students who are looking to be journalists?
Good question. There's a lot of people unemployed, and a lot of people unemployed for really crappy reasons. Even bad newspapers these days are still making a profit. That's one of those dirty little secrets that most people don't know. Almost all newspapers make profits. Very few don't. But what they're doing is they're choosing to take their money and either put it into the pockets of the people who run the newspaper, or they're choosing to invest it in stuff that they shouldn't be investing in, or They're using it to pay off debts that they shouldn't have in the first place. And that's where the money's going. And because there's not enough money to go around, they're laying people off. Which is kind of dumb. If you own a restaurant and times are getting hard and you can't serve the people who are coming into your restaurant, are you going to lay off the kitchen staff? That would be stupid, because that would mean that you could serve those people even less well. That'd be the last thing you want to do. Yet that's what we're doing. People need journalism, they want journalism, they've proven that they'll pay for good journalism, so what are we doing? We're laying off journalists. Explain that one to me. You can't. Because of that, I am convinced there's still a future in journalism. Now, will it be on paper? Will it be on the airwaves? Will it be in Wi-Fi? Will it be, I don't know that. But if you're a good journalist, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what medium you're in. Because it's still going to be out there. The readers still need us. And the weird stuff that happens with the coverage of Obamacare, and you realize that some of this stuff is not correct, and some of this stuff is being spun differently, and you realize every politician has his own agenda. It becomes more about his agenda than it becomes about what's really happening. That's what the public needs us for, to straighten that stuff out. So you need people to fact check, you need people to go back, you need people to go back and question these guys. And yet the world is out to get us. You saw the journalists who were arrested for shooting pictures of a military installation. They were arrested by the military police for trespassing. They were standing outside the gate. Explain that one to me. If we aren't there, then there's no one to advocate for the public. And that's what we are. It's the fourth estate. It's the whole concept of the fourth estate.